Just let me introduce very briefly. My name is Raul de Mora. I work in communications and partnerships and at the United Nations Multi-Partner Trust Fund Office. And I've been one of the members of the team behind the whole overhaul and relaunch of the new partners of the new MPTF Office Gateway. Today are a few colleagues from the office, that will be joining. Some of them are already with us. And the idea is just to have kind of a short webinar, like where we can discuss a little bit some functionalities of the multi-partner of the new gateway of the MPTF Office. For your information, we are recording this session, and some of you have asked for those that were not being able to attend and more taking into account the time difference. We will be recording it, so it's available for other colleagues that may want to watch it, or there are some sections they could be interested. So, as said, we will have with us some colleagues that will be joining from Cristina Bertarelli. She will be joining shortly. She works as a fund secretariat officer, and she will also share a few information about, like the back end of the system and the fund management platform that some of them are familiar. We will have also some colleagues like Anita and Eva and other colleagues from program. So if you have any question, please also raise your hand or also and you can channel also any particular question that may come after that through your focal points at the MPTF office. So why these webinars? As very likely all of you are already familiar after consultation with partners and particularly with contributors, but with many fund secretariats and also with UN entities. We launched in summer a new MPTF Office Gateway. It's part of a whole overhaul process of renewing the website, and we need to a new generation because there has been growth in interagency pool funds overall in the last few years, and there are new demands that have been incorporated in different UN resolution and in different requests by partners. So that's how we launched this gateway. That was launched in summer, as I was saying, and we did it just after the launch of after the end of the reporting season, so we would make sure it was not affecting your work in the reporting. So we have like around almost 3 months and a half, 4 months of the new gateway. We have been incorporating some improvements, and we thought it would be good to have this chat where we can show you, like some of the functionalities that can be particularly useful for you as a country level pool funds, and also perhaps other functionalities that you might not have seen, and also identifying functionalities that might. Hi, Cristina.
Hello. Morning.
So, and another functionalities that perhaps can be helpful in your work. So we will try to go through this. But what is also important for us is like we have some time to also listen from you while the development of the new gateway is almost finalized, the external part, the part that we will present today. We also have we keep improving. There are sometimes some glitches here and there that we can fix it, but also new functionalities that could be interesting and that can be of your use, we can explore. So let me just start sharing a little bit a few screens, since we already have a few colleagues online, and let me start sharing my screen, so a little bit with the plan of today. So this is how we have thought about organizing the session today. We will have a little bit of an introduction. We will go into Gateway overall navigation, and I know many of you are already experts in Gateway, so bear with us if we go through something that may seem too basic for you, but perhaps all together we can discover like kind of contents and functionalities here and there that can be of your use. Then we will go on in depth of analysis of trust fund pages. We will use a few examples from some country level pool funds and trust funds. Then we will try to show some select functionalities, and a little bit as important as the trust fund pages, also we wanted to show the potential of the project pages. And then if we have time, we we can have some questions and answers. The idea is to have like around 50 minutes, 1 hour of the webinar, and we can stay another 30 minutes or as much as you need if there are questions or there are particular topics you want to go into more detail. A little bit, what is new with the new MPTF Office Gateway? So what we really want to trigger with this, and what we really want to achieve with this new gateway is to have an integrated platform for you enjoying funding, QCPR, many different, the UN reform, many of the processes that are happening at the UN are calling for better and more and higher quality UN joint funding, and the MPTF office, as the largest trustee in interagency pool funds, wants to provide kind of cutting-edge technology and service for all of you. There is a full redesign of all the fund management administration of the system. We also have worked closely in enhancing usability and transparency. Not only a facelift and a new design, but also we have tried to make it more easy to interact with some feature. It should be much easier for you also to interact in your mobile and in other devices that in the old gateway was difficult. And it was a really partner-centered approach. We really co-designed this in consultation with our partners, so with different partners, so we can make sure that it's responding to their needs. So why new is because the MPTF office has always characterized by transparency. So we want to guarantee the same level of transparency, but even giving more analysis and tools, another analytical and also another ways of making visible the partnerships behind the different country level pool funds. So it's something that is important here. Just a note is like all functionalities that were kind of public access to the old gateway have been moved to the new gateway, as it is the case of all the documents. So there might be perhaps certain cases that there is some functionalities that you cannot find, or please let us know and we can refer how you can find that information. Also note on that, in the past, there were also some functionalities like the financial tables. There were some tools that you could run and report yourself outside. Now this is going to be part of the backend fund management platform. And while all the information is available, the only information that you will not find in the gateway is about earmarked contributions. What we are trying is to promote that all the trust funds should be an earmark as possible. So perhaps, Christina, I'm gonna give it over to you so you can go a little bit about the three components. Today, we are gonna be this overhaul. Before used to be only one platform. That's why we were talking about the some financial tables, the funding frameworks that you sometimes could run. Now we have like three different platforms that are aligned and that respond to different needs. So we have a fund administration system. This is mostly what we will use as trustee to do different operations. And then the fund management system will be your tool for grant management, but also for many other tools and for many other functionalities. And then the partners gateway, which is what we are going to be talking about it, and which is our public interface, what we try to make all our partners to be able to find all the information that they need and to see the value of investing in interagency pool funds. But perhaps, Christina, you can say a few words about the fund management system and this whole comprehensive approach to this platform.
Thank you, Raghu. Good morning, all colleagues. Apologies for the slight delay. I have an hardware problem, but it seems fixed now. I think that I see you all online. Thank you for joining today. As Raul was saying, I just spent a few words on the gateway as a whole. So as the title of this slide said, there are elements that makes this gateway an all-integrated platform. So there are different elements that come from the internal application that actually are then traveling into the gateway side. That is the one that Raul is explaining, where we have all the information highlighted in a very transparent way. The three pillars of this gateway as a whole are the fund administrative system, which is basically the way how we manage the fund in terms of the typology of the fund, in terms of how are the partner, and then all the information related to the feature of the fund, including certain configuration whenever a secretariat decide to manage the entire project portfolio through the platform. So you can define here the template of your concept note if you use it, or project, and or last but not least, all the RBM and the result framework. When this is created, basically it enables the possibility for applicants and agency to work online on a project form or concept note form. So we are kind of moving into the digital world, moving a little bit away of a paper or back and forth of the email. The entire workflow from the creation of the project to the submission, and actually the entire life cycle of the project can be managed through the platform. We have already done some pilot, and we have conversation ongoing with many secretaries that are interested to shift into this new environment. What it's already implemented and every agency is using is the document management system, and the possibility to include a project description via the internal application. There are specific access that are granted by the MPTF office to the users, and there is an ongoing process because we are transitioning into this new way of doing things. If you agree, Raul, I would leave it here because we may have more specific conversation and webinars also on this internal application. And feel free to reach out to Raul, myself, the office in general, if you're interested to a one-to-one kind of highlights, and we're happy to provide. Thank you, Natalia. One session dedicated specifically to this new feature. Thank you very much, and hope to see you on the platform soon.
Thank you, Cristina. So let's go to the interesting part after this presentation. So let me go again and go to the site, which I think is what we are more interested. So let me share the screen again. Okay. I think you can see now my screen. Yes. So basically, as you will see, here is the new MPTF UNDP.org. For all of you that have funds that have been running for years, what is interesting for your information, we kept the URL. And what we have done, we have changed a little bit slightly the fund URL. So if you know, like we have changed a little bit the fund URL, but we have tried to relink and reconnect to the new fund URL. So now it will be a simplified structure where you will have mptf.undp.org/fund/ and the fund code. When you can hear, what we are trying to do, it is not only about financial data. So of course, you will have key figures here, and you can see overall on each fund and on the portfolio, or by theme or by geographical scope, but it's also about the partnerships. Something that we really want to give more visibility and more functionalities is to understand the partnerships behind the MPTF, the different multi-partner trust funds. And indeed, what we always say is, while funds, the logic of how we work is multi-partner, we build these multi-partner coalitions, then we build trust, then is where the fund comes. And then also we have also tried to highlight knowledge that can be, we think, or we expect will make your job easier. So here, as you will have seen from the top navigation, here you will have all the trust funds. You can go into the humanitarian funds piece by theme. There are 4 themes. What is important, in the past, one fund could have different themes, but now, in order to facilitate all the classification, each fund should follow in one of these 4 categories: humanitarian, peace and transition, development, and climate. And you also will have the fund, you can navigate the fund by global funds, regional funds, and country level pool funds. This is something new. We call it funds in the pipeline. It's something that the donors ask, and where we have the opportunity to talk about new funds that are in the design. So partners, as you had before in the top, if you remember, you can go directly if you want to see a particularly portfolio of a contributor, of a member state or private sector, you can go directly there and you can look, you will have a page for each of them. Same thing with participating organizations and same thing with program countries. You can find the portfolio with MPTF Office through all this. This is a new section that we hope is of your use, is where we put some more language about why pool fund. We think that could be useful, for instance, when you have to prepare a presentation, when you have to talk to donors in country and explain why pool fund. You will see what is a pool fund, the different roles, why it's important in the context of UN currents, okay, coherence and reform, latest trend, where if you click, you will see some financial, some financial trends. What are the countries, for instance, where 15% of more of interagency pool funds are already through of an earmark contributions and going through pool funds. This is also something important. You are familiar with that. You have received recently a survey to fill. It's about the quality features. This is something requested in a UN resolution, in a UN General Assembly resolution. So if you click there, for instance, you will be able to see here, for instance, what are the quality features of pool funds. So you will see the 12 of them, and that can give you some language and some text that perhaps you can use in your communications with partners. Then you have, more information about, the Nexus. This is an starter kit for all of you that are starting a country level pool fund. Very simplified. You have kind of the basics of pool funds and what are the steps and how you can establish a pool fund and then the legal agreement. We really recommend you to look at this, and perhaps we can have if we have time later, we can go into some of them. You have analyze all data allows to look into all the data that the MPTF office has. This is overall financial data, but has also some partnerships data. So you can look into all the fund contributions. That can be a tool that can be helpful to see, for instance, if you select in a given country or a given donor, what are other country level pool funds, like for instance, Sweden or Netherlands are contributing. That can give you some donor intelligence. We can play with that later if we have time and it's of your interest. Fund projects allow to see where the money is going. So you can see what are the participating entities, what are the countries that are where the resources are implemented, and the period, how this is changing year by year. And this is more kind of the concrete transactions where some you can see when the system has registered a commitment or a contribution, and same thing when a payment voucher has been dispersed. So, and then you have our document center and funding opportunities. This is for those funds that run call for proposals. We are trying to put there the information that we receive from France secretariats if there is a new call for proposal. Perhaps it's not that important for country level pool funds, but for all of you that work in RC offices, we are trying all that has global calls, trying to make sure, for instance, that is there. For instance, for your information, if you go to funding opportunities, and we are trying to update it as more. So just the complex risks analytic fund, just launch a new call for proposal. You can see more of the details of this call for proposal. And we are trying to keep updated also with other call for proposals. The rest are already passed, but the idea is to try to have here information on what are the call for proposals that are coming. So sorry that it took it a little bit longer, but we thought these particular two tools can be important, and we invite you to really navigate through of them. So how you can find a fund? I'm sure you already have navigated, but basically you can type here and you say Colombia Trust Fund. You will able to find it. But what we have done it also for your information, like we want to make it easier for, for instance, Netherlands, we were talking before, and like the ambassador of, again, we can say Colombia because we were talking about Colombia. So that allows Netherlands, the ambassador and the embassy there to see, okay, through these three funds, I'm contributing to Colombia. Indeed, as you can see, they are not contributing to any country level pool fund there. So from then you can find, and you will see here, latest commitments, transfers, and from then you can go to the different. This is something also a new tool, is a new map. Before we used to have to map, what we have decided is having all together in one map. So what it allows you, if you select one partner, like for instance, Sweden, and you want to see, for instance, I don't know what other countries, South Sudan, this is going to allow to see Sudan, all the funds there, Sweden is contributing in South Sudan. If you click here, you will go directly to the page of South Sudan, where also it can be an interesting tool for you, because there is where you can find all the information about South Sudan, the portfolio, the activities, and everything that is happening there. So in order to go a little bit quickly, just perhaps if I don't see any question, Christina, Vicky, if there is any question, please let me know. If not, we can go to a concrete. Here we were in South Sudan, and for instance, you can see all the funds that operate in South Sudan.
No, the chat is empty, Raul, so you can
Okay,
go ahead.
perfect. So let me just go, for instance, this is the special fund. Let's start with this trust fund. This is the special trust fund for Afghanistan. So just for your information, what you can do is, many of you have already selected, but you can select and you can indicate it as we sent a survey some months ago, but you can also send it to us. Here you have to identify what are the primary SDGs that the fund is contributing. When you can, you also have the option to have your own logo. In the case of country level poor funds, could also be the logo of the UN SDG or wherever is the decision on logos. What is very important when you play with the colors, this will be through a dark blue banner. So we try to promote some colors that really will have enough visibility so you can read the logo. This is also important. How we are trying is like, our partners were saying, okay, you have all these funds. I want to understand what this fund is about. It sometimes can be overwhelming to go and read the document of the information about them. So each fund has what we call the communications name. That can be the legal name, but sometimes can be different. In this case, it's the Special Trust Fund for Afghanistan. And then what you have here is the possibility, and we recommend you to have it, to have a tagline. This is kind of in just maximum 10 words to explain what this is fund about it. In this case, is the provision of basic human needs. Then from then you can go to the overview, and then you will have a paragraph for those users that want to learn more. Here you have a paragraph, and then you can learn more and you can go to the objective. So if you go to learn more here, you will be able to see kind of all the fun scope of the fund. Something that also recommend to look into is the tools. From there you can go directly to search all the documents, to search of where the funding is going of this fund, all the payment vouchers and all the contributions details. Something that some of you will know also, what we are trying is to kind of, one of the opportunities of these websites of having a trust fund page in the MPTF office is that even if you don't have still the resources, if you were not able to launch a website, this is kind of offering you a platform where you can have communication with your partners. What we are seeing is in these 4 months, we have seen an increase in the traffic of over almost 50%. So we see contributors really interested in using this tool overall. But here you have the opportunity to link to your website. That can be the website of the UN SDG, can be also if you have a dedicated site, depending on the decision that you take in terms of communication. Sometimes some funds may want to highlight it here, some other links or some other kind of documentation or QRs. Please let us know. We can also do that. This is in focus. In before, if you remember, that was in the in focus section, tend to have a lot of information there. Basically, what we have is the latest reports. Is where we want to highlight the status of the fund, when it was established. And here you can have the latest narrative report, the latest financial report, and also the use of funds. This is also, many of you have already done it, but to encourage you to do it, instead of starting with numbers, as you see, what we are starting is, what is this partnership about it? What is this fund about it? And also we want to showcase results up front. What we sometimes hear, where are the results? So in any trust fund page, you have the opportunity to put your results up front. Of course, then you can go to the more detailed narrative reports and results report, but at least the idea is to have here like 5, 6, up to 12 kind of highlighted, very simple, very easy to grasp. And what we are trying is that then it's easy, for instance, for an embassy or an office of a government to really structure result and say, okay, I'm preparing some talking points for my ambassador, or the Secretary of State is visiting my country. This is an example of the fund. In this case, you have only 2022, but here you can have results cumulative for a full period, or you can have it by year. For the moment, this is coming manually through a survey that is sent to you from time to time, but please contact us. We have to edit this, and basically it's an icon, a number, and then kind of what is this result about it. And if you click there, you will go to the results tab. Here is where you have the financial figures for your information. Something that we are going to be working is in a series of tooltips where we want to explain what different concepts, because what we have realized, even if for many of us, we are kind of so familiar with what means commitments versus deposit, budget, transfer, and expenditure, that's not always the case with many of our partners. So here you will see contributions. Here you will see the list of contributions. Again, we are trying to visualize our partners up front. You can select for a period of time. In this case, this is a new fund established in 2021. So that also can allow you to see, in this case, there are not future commitments, but some funds you can see even 2023, 2024, which kind of gives you what are the commitments that have been registered in the system and what is the money that should be coming. Something that is new, and perhaps it doesn't affect in any of these funds, but sometimes you may have received resources from different ministries or different lines in a same fund. So then you can have, and this is something that donors ask for it, you will have the option to have the information by the member state, but also you can have this information disaggregated. In the case, let's say that you have a country pool fund where some resources are coming from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but then some resources that then may come later on through some climate funding from the Ministry of Climate. That's something that we can do now, and you can see the information both aggregated and disaggregated. This is also something new. You can see this is where we can highlight the multi-stakeholder partnerships, where you can see, okay, these are kind of the contributors and how this is going to Afghanistan. If you change here for participating organizations, that gives you just visually, you can interact, you know, okay, special trust fund for Afghanistan, who are the top recipient organizations, what are the resources going there. And this is important. Here you will have the list of all organizations receiving funding in your fund. These register only those organizations that are in the system and that are gonna receive resources. So there might be some participating organizations that have signed the MOU with the fund, but they still haven't received resources. So the list is not gonna appear here. But if you wanna give visibility, when you go to governance, you can add we can add there kind of some text explaining these are the participating organizations, even if they are not in this list. So then the contributors is the similar information for us. Also, what we want to also highlight, these financial tab perhaps is what you used to use the most in the past. So we recommend that you also look at this, because there is where you can find the most useful information. This is the financial status that you can get it at any point of the financial status of the fund. But then there are all the delivery analysis tools. Here, if you click, you can see the delivery analysis by theme. You can see by the delivery analysis by project and by organization, and you can also select year, so you will have the information by year also there. You can also select here from, okay, I want to see the delivery analysis from May to, and you will see. Something very important, since some of the funds have many contributors, we usually have top 10, the first 10 organizations. So we recommend also to go more results. In this case, Young Women was hiding, but in the moment that you print or download any of this data, the full list is going to appear. But just for visibility, particularly when there are like 20, 30 participating organizations, we only show a few of them initially. Here you can look at the projects, and if you click from there, you can go to any project. And this is again the projects by theme, very similar. Objective, this is also narrative information. If you have a theory of change, a nice graph or something that you would like highlighting where your programmatic scope is described, please let us know. We can put it there. Similarly, here is governance. This is a good example where you have, like while you explain here in text, here is clearly a graph that explains what is the governance arrangement of this fund and how this fund is working. As I was saying, you can see here participating organizations. If you want to highlight all your participating organizations, even if they are not receiving resources, we can add that information there. And this is a tab for projects. This is not, we recommend for financial data, better going to the financial tab. But here that allows you to see, okay, I want to see what are all the ongoing projects in this, but you can see also closed projects. You can use a name. So for instance, let's say livelihoods, and you type something. So there should be able to find all the projects here that they have livelihoods in the project title. And also you can select here, you take this out and you can select, okay, I want to see all the projects that are about essential provision of essential services provision. And again, from here, you can have the project ID, you can click there and you can go to the project page. This is again the results where you can go the results. And this is the document. What is very important here, you have the legal documents feature, but you have up to 4. So basically you have the MOU, the TOR and the SA template. But if you click view all, you will see more of them. What is important for all of you that have different versions of the TORs, and if you think like here we are featuring, the system is featuring something that is kind of old version, please let us know, because one of the principles is we migrated all documents. That has been a very complex task, but we didn't want to lose any data, right, or any documents. So all the documents are there, including some of them that can be kind of old, or you don't want to make that visible. So please let us know if we have to change some feature here. You will see also in the document tab all the latest fund level reports. And here, something also for your information, this is the search. So since many funds have a lot of documents.
Sí. Para leerlas usted.
Okay, so if you go here, you can look just for documents that are, if you select fund specific, that will be those that are for the fund overall, or you can look just for program specific projects. Here you can put the project code, and then you will have all the documents there. What is important is that you have to click search in order to see all the documents there. So since I haven't selected anyone, that's why there is no one document. So you will see you have all these documents. Sometimes there are many. We are working also in the new system of document management. We have migrated everything. All the documents that we were saying, some of the documents have kind of file names that are kind of old and they are part of the legacy. We are looking into mechanisms to really you have the option to have a different display name versus what is the file name. So if that's the case in some of your cases, please let us know. And we are also, you might see some document types when you say, okay, this is not really terms of reference. So please let us know, or let's coordinate with your program focal point at the MPTF office, and we can also try to categorize things properly. So this is where we are putting a lot of efforts right now, because we are trying really to make it up to date, this whole display of documents and files. But all the documents should be there. If there is a document you cannot find, please let us know, and we will try to see what has happened. And this is what is important: contact. You will have the contact from the fund, from the MPTF office, but please let us know, like what are the right persons that you would like to have there from your fund, and you can do it through this. Let me just send another couple of examples. Just also, as you see, the special trust fund, they don't have news, but there are funds, like in the case of Colombia, where you have also the option to use this to put news. So you see, you have the overview, but the particularity, they have this new core section that called news. This allows us, if you have in your own website, or you have produced human interest stories or a launch or something that you would like to highlight, we can highlight it here. So, but please, you have to let us know. We will, for instance, in this case, and this is the story of Claudia Beltran. If you click there, you will see her story. Sorry, I don't know what just happened. So apologies. So okay, so we have to check what happened there. Apologies. As we were saying, if you see some glitches, please let us know. This is also content migrated, but you will have the option of having a news here, and you also can have Twitter tweets if there are some tweets, for instance, for an important partner that you would like to highlight there. We can also embed it here, and also videos, right? So this should be, this is kind of, you see, this is an example of a story from the Papua New Guinea fund. So as you can see here, like there is a trainer of trainers, so you can have the story. And we usually add this line, so it says originally published in the United Nations PNG site and goes to the original source of the content. So I think with that, perhaps we can stop here. By the way, we can also add here your link.
Raul, it works, the news. I
Eh?
just double check. If you refresh the page, the new, it seems working to me.
I
Of
don't know.
Claudia Bertrand.
So I don't know what happened, if it was my connection or.
If you want, I can
Yeah,
share.
sorry, I don't know what happened. Yes, so you see, this is a story. So it's a good way to have another visibility, to another possibility to promote your, your stories and content. And so perhaps we can stop here as a first round, and we can have some questions. So let me stop 1 minute, and if you have any question, please raise your hand or just jump into the and just raise your question. It's quite straightforward. So perhaps Christina, let me make you co-host. I think perhaps something that is interesting, what we have been talking right now is about the trust fan page and all the potential. What we want to say is, like, please use it as a complementary site of what you already have. And by the way, we can also provide some some figures of the traffic that it has, like some funds, if you need to know, I would like to see how many visitors are coming to my fan page, trust fan page. We can also provide that information that can be helpful. But as important as the trust fan pages are, sometimes are important are also, and we have also increased a lot of the potential of the project pages. So Christina, I'm making you co-host so you can show, for instance, some examples of the full potential of the project pages. Over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Raul. On the spot, I try to bring up a presentation that I had prepared, just mostly to show how to retrieve information from the fan page. If you allow me 2 seconds, I highlight first quickly a presentation, and then we can go we can go live. Please let me know if you see the PowerPoint page. So just make it bigger so it's easier to see. So there are different entry points to find the project page in the system. And as Raul was saying, and he was highlighting some of the functionality of the website, there are many ways to retrieve the same information. It's like having many different doors. So the project page can be retrieved via fund page. As Raul was saying, there is the tab in the fund page where we have the list of the full project. Via fund page tools, so there is a mini button here that then I can show you live, where there is a specific functionality of search project. Via resources menu, so if you click on the blue button of the resources, and of course I will show you live, you have the function that straight give you to the possibility to retrieve all the projects for a given fund. Via search button, although sometimes not, in terms of ranking, might not be the first immediate result. But if you put your Atlas ID and the title, it can come also through this search button. And then via URL address. This is a tip that I usually share, because if you go through whatever project page that you have and you know your Atlas ID, you can still working on the several different pages. But I think it's going to be more clear when I show you live. Then what do we have when we land on the project page? We have a title, which is the long title displayed in the project page. And this is the result of what we were saying before, having an internal application where we can really include the entire title of the project that avoid the truncation and maybe not very meaningful title that sometimes happen given to the limitation of the ERP system. The link to the fund page that can be open in a separate link, so you don't lose the page or you don't lose the traffic of the search that you are doing. And then separate action link to the FMP and Atlas. What I was telling before, the project description that come from the internal application, and also the information that are related to the transaction. So at the moment, what is coming from Atlas, what is the budget that is set, and what is the transfer to which participating organization. And then we have another tool like the one we have at the fund page, where you can go and check all your document vouchers and analyze all the data related to the project portfolio. I had the quick tips that I am happy to share then. Here, sorry, there was a mistake. If the project description answer in the FMP, which means in the internal application, is a longer description, we create in the gateway a dedicated page for the full description of the project. So there's no need. I mean, we also encourage to be concise, but you can also have a broad explanation of what the project is about. Another very important things, whatever was in the Gateway 1 is migrated into the Gateway 2. So for existing project, there's no need to go back and retweak or remake the project description. Whatever was available there is now transferred in the system. However, if you see that you may want to make some, adjustment, or there is something more clear to indicate based on the, of course, on the product approved, you can contact us and we can liaise to see how this can be improved. And then there are the feature document, which is the same that Raul was showing before, are the document with the little icons, whereas for the fund it was highlighting MOU, SAA, and TOR. For the project, of course, you will have the product, you have all the reports that are really easily recognizable in the project page. I think without any further ado, if you agree, unless you have any question of these first initial highlights, I may show one of the project page in the system. I don't see the chat, Raul. I don't know if you see some.
I don't see any question, but let me double check again. No.
And feel free to interrupt if there is something that it might not be clear. So when you click on this blue button, Trust Fund, you can go on the menu and, you type either your keyword if you don't remember entirely the name of your fund, and there is all the fund that they have similar name. In this case, I will pick up the COVID-19 MPTF. You see the system is running. And then he will redirect me to the COVID page. I mean, I don't go further because Raul already went into this conversation. So what I wanted to show you is how we access the project. You see the project list of project here. And we have the entire set of the project. If you don't see, these are of course the more recent, but if you click more, you have the entire list of the project related to a fund. So what I was explaining before, and let me open in a new tab. See here. Let me open another one because this Zoom thing is. Let me move it, yes. Okay, see, you open in another page, and this is a project page with all details. As I was showing you before, you see this is the number of the project. On this left part, you have all the narrative information, and in this part, you have the information that comes from the ERP system. Yeah. As I was mentioning before, if you have a long description here, you see the system asks you to read more, and then it creates a specific tab, which is the project description. If I click on here, I remain on the same page of the project, so I'm not prompt to another different page. I will remain in the same one. And you see here, you can include bullet point, you can include bold and also simple tables. So we have improved also the word text that we can highlight in the project page. As well as this one, it was what I was mentioning. If you have a very long title, is fully now displayed in the project page. And here for the funds that are using the internal application, which was what I was saying before, to manage the project fund management project, you can also identify per project to what extent the project is contributing to the SDGs. Another important element on the project page is the documents, as I was saying before. So you have the PRODOC, which is the legal document supporting this fund. And then, as Raul was showing before, you have all the other project-related documents. If you can see here is also the system help you not to go and search in any other menu, but he pre-populate the number of your project, and then you search and you have the full list of project documents. So in this case, they're only the upload of the PRODOC. I will spend just few minutes in the overview. You see here beside the narrative section, we do have start date, end date, the participating organization, and the status of the project. If by any, and the cluster and the project ID. If you need to go back to the fund page, you can click either on the in focus and open in a new link so you don't lose your navigation at the project level, or you can go below the title and you can do the same thing. What else is new on the project page is the financial graph. The financial graph, we had the intention to highlight the entire life cycle of the project, from when the budget and the transfer are created to the end of the project, including the highlight of refund, expenditure, and transfer. In case, for instance, you have a cost extension, you will have another peak in the middle of the flow. So if I go here and just highlight the budget, you see the budget was set in December 2021 to this level, etc. And here I had highlight my expenditure, but I can always go, to one, and I do have the detail of my transfer budget or expenditure. So you can also make a quick analysis, or you can also, if in case you need to display this graph, is very interesting. Useful is how they are, the breakdown by participating organization and the financial account. As Raul was mentioning before, these are the same page that we were always having in the Gateway 1, and we can have the possibility to extract or print the page as it was before. And of course, here very useful is the voucher ID, the bank reference, and the description. One thing that I forgot to mention, I know that sometimes the organization has a different reference, so we had make sure that we can also put the reference per organization, which makes the analysis per organization definitely easier in terms to matching or reconcile the accounts. What else? The contributors goes back to the contributors page, linking to the information that Raul was sharing before, that we encourage unearmarked funding. So you go back to the details of the donor page per each fund. What is interesting and possibly encourage the Secretariat to start using the internal application is that if you use the fund management platform, which is one of the three pillars of the Gateway, you are able at the budget level basically to apportion a percentage to how the budget is, given breakdown to the different SDGs. And so only indicate in that case at the project level, you have also the SDG dashboard. That I think that besides giving color on the page is a very meaningful information and keeps, the conversation of the 2030 agenda alive, even at the project level. Last but not least, what I was mentioning, that this is a very, very important tool, in my opinion. So you have a tool here, and here you can go either to search all documents related to a project, you can go to detail of the payment voucher, and you can go into analyze all data. So if I go here, I can do the track of my payment voucher with all the bank reference already presetting the project that we are working on. And then here, same, you can do all analyze all funding, just predetermine that there is the project ID, the fund, how much was budgeted and how much was transferred, and the update on the expenditure report. I think I would leave it here. I mean, there is a nice flag now also, but I see some question, but I'm not able to read. But please go ahead also if you would like to step in with your question.
Yeah, there is a question about sharing the previous webinars. Yes, we will share. What we haven't still done it, and we will do it as we go, and we really identify what are the needs. It's like we will create a section on the gateway or a depository where you will be able to see kind of the recordings and user guides, some short videos. We are trying to build kind of where you can have different useful tools. Also for your information, all other webinars that we have similar content, but they were focused, as you saw in the invitation, to different type of funds. Some of them were global funds, or they were standalone joint programs. So that's also the particularities, but content was very similar. But yes, we will share, and this is also why we are recording these webinars.
I want to share one last tip, Raul, because I know that sometimes when we work in project, we don't have time to click several times. So this is kind of a demo on how to see the different possibility. But as you can see here, we were showing this project 129536, right? So if I want to see the other one, and I don't want to go through all the entire navigation, I just paste the number of my project here. So I keep the root of the HTTPS, and then the system gives me the other project page. So in case you really need to work, systematically on a series of projects for a fund, feel free to do this tip. Is pretty quick. You keep up the fund page with the project list, and then just you copy paste the number of the project in the URL. So I hope this one is useful. I think that I found it very useful to me. So Raul, over to you for wrapping up, and thank you very much. Feel free to connect. Happy to show you more or respond to any specific question. Thank you.
Thanks, Christina. Is there any other question at this point? Yes, I see Fausta Baptiste. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Sorry, I was a little bit late in this meeting, but I am the partnership officer of the SC office in Haiti, and I think this MPT Office Gateway is very, very an excellent tool for joint programs, because we have all the information and we can go to all the fund like the PBF Spotlight. It's very, very great. And I was very surprised that some colleagues don't know the existence of this gateway, of this because I used before the previous one. My question is, sometimes the colleagues from agency ask us for the administrative contract that has been signed with the participating agency and the fund, and we don't have this document. And I would like to know if in this gateway we have this a contract, administrative contract. It is my question. Thank you.
Thanks. This is a good question, and thanks for the positive feedback. Much appreciated. So perhaps also Christina can add on this, is like the particular MOUs or contracts, as you were referring, are not in the, what you have is only the, or you should find is only kind of the template, because all the signatures are redacted. That's also why we were talking about the system kind of split the internal and external. So the idea is like, if you need kind of a particular contract, you can reach the program focal point, like the program associate or the portfolio manager, and they can provide that information. But the idea is, as more funds are moving into the backend, the fund management platform that Christina was mentioning, you will be able to see also all these documents signed, but they will be not public because they have kind of the signature of officials, and you will see also the date when it was signed. But Christina, perhaps you can add on this.
Yeah, I think that we need, thank you for the question, Fausta. Indeed, we need to get more funds into the back end. There is the classification, and I think I can connect with the question of Dolly, how we can have display the path on how to upload the documents. The document classification can be internal, external, confidential, and very confidential. So depending how the documents are tagged, the system prompt or restrict the access only to the internal application. So only when a document is marked as external and there is a confirmation that there's signature reduction, the document can be uploaded. So it might be possible, but we need to understand maybe more about what you mean about administrative document. There is indeed for instance, the MOU with the number of the participating organization that had signed, but there are no signature. The signature are only available in the backend. But the information can be indeed retrievable even in the system. I don't know if this one complement or you have any additional question, Fausta?
Okay, thank you. And it's like MOU. So I understand. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. But feel free anyway to connect with PAs, PM, and even in this kind of interim, because also the issue is that there are documents that are migrating and new documents that are coming in. So, but we can help you navigating in that if there is any specific question. That's for sure.
Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.
And Raul.
And for Dolly, can we have the path to upload documents on the gateway too? Yes, of course. I can show you an example in the testing environment, but of course, this is basically given to specific unit and specific contact that even previously were uploading gateway document through the gateway one. So I think that you may need to be in touch. Apologies, I don't know your to what office you belong to, Dolly, but in case you are a secretariat maybe and you were already uploading document in the gateway one, please reach out and we double check with our colleague in order to grant it access to that. But I'm pleased to show you quickly an example in the testing environment so you can see how it would look like. And you have also just a quick initial glimpse. Raul, I hope you agree on that. So this is not the real environment that we have seen right now. It's just for testing, just to understand how the system works. So if we want to go again on the COVID, this is the screen that I have because I have access as MPTF Office. Of course, you may have access, you will have access only to your own fund as a contact is set. So if I go to project here, and I take an existing project, here, I don't spend too much time because this one is the entire workflow or how to manage a certain project from the idea phase to the approval within the platform. So we're using the form versus the product document. But if you need to, for instance, upload a report, you go on document, you select the document type, and I put, for instance, annual report. I want to publish in the public into the gateway site. So in the third pillar, which is the gateway site, I mark it as external. In the status, I have to indicate that it's finalized, and basically I approve that there's no signature in the document. The abstract is if I want to make some note to, kind of understand and remember what is this document is about, but is not mandatory, so I can put not applicable. If I feature the document in the system, this function creates basically the icon that you have seen in case of MOU SAA at the fund level or the product or the reporting. Let's put 31st of December 2021. And then I choose a file. So I go in my desktop with my test, annual report for testing. And then I click upload. When I click upload, the system tells me you're doing a good job with a green light to go. But before to publish, I need to double check here that what I've done is really a correct work. So this is my document. And even from here, I can open in the new link and see if really is the document that I want to upload. And this is my test number, so this is okay. So I confirm that what I've done was a good job. And then the document type, I confirm that is the annual report. is at the project level. I didn't put any abstract. This is my document date, is classified as external, is feature. And here I confirm that there are no signature and it's me that I'm doing this work. If there is any mistake here, I can still delete my document and repeat the exercise. But I'm fine with what I've done. So I click on finalize and the system tell me from here, you can only either publish, or if you want to archive this document because you don't want to delete, but you want to keep it, you archive, or you close the page and you go back and restart the function. So I decide to go and publish. The system also give me the green light. And the status of my project becomes from finalized redacted to published. So what I need to do now is to see, and this one is also a testing environment, so it's not the real gateway. But just to show you, the system is the same. I go to COVID fund and check my project. So while the system is loading, I'm going back to my platform because I forgot what is my project ID. Here it is. I copy from here, or maybe you had already in mind what is your project. I go to the project tab as we were doing before. We leave the page loading. Here I have all my set. I need to view more because I don't know if it's just in the most recent. I paste my ID number. I search. This is my project in testing. I repeat. I click on my ID. I go to my document page, and here you see the product that I had already uploaded before. And this is the exercise that we have done together right now by uploading the annual report. If we go on the page and I do search, beside whatever is uploaded and feature, I have all my list of documents, including the 2 tests that I just done for demo purposes. I hope Tolly, this respond to your question. And I'm happy if it's needed to, organize a training specifically on that. Raul, over to you.
Yes, thanks. So I think we are over the hour. I don't know if there is any other question. Since I need, there are some partnerships officers. Just I'm going to show you something that I'm sure you have already seen it, but that I would like to show you a tool that perhaps can be interesting. What many of you are asking sometimes, who are the donors I could reach? Who is funding what? So this is also what if you go, for instance, in resources, beyond your fund or beyond what is happening in your country, you might be interested in what are the pattern behaviors of some donors with whom you have a conversation. And for instance, Sweden is saying, okay, we're not sure. So you can look into other example of something similar they have done it. So if you go to analyze all data fund contributions, so this allows also to play, it has 2 components. On this, you have the fields. This allows to see all the data of all the contributions to all the funds that the MPTF office is doing with a series of variables that is going to make you possible to download data and make the analysis that might be of your interest. So instead of having to download a huge database, you can be looking into the information that you needed. So for instance, this allows you the fields that you can select. And also, for instance, something important here, you have the time period. You can select for a period of year. For instance, I want to see what has happened in the last 2 years. And you can see here by selecting contributors, you can go and say, okay, I would like to see, for instance, okay, I have a conversation with Netherlands. Again, we have another with Sweden. You select. Interesting. Now you can have multiple choice before you can only choose one. So that's also what makes you to have with that is a substantial improvement in the donor intelligence kind of tool. And you say, okay, let's say also United States, usually they are not a big fan, but let me see if United States of America is doing something. And I don't know, perhaps another country but let's say also Germany, okay? So I'll look at these countries, which are among the top donors. and then I say, okay, I'm gonna select all, you know, this is a peace and transition fund. So I'm gonna select only peace and transition funds, and I wanna see also geographical scope. In this case, we are looking also to see where it has gone to the country level pool fund. So this is gonna allow you to see by year, but if you want simplified, you will have 44 records. So you can see by year, what of these 4 countries we have selected, what are the peace and transition country level pool funds these donors have contributed. So if you are negotiating, for instance, with Netherlands, you can say, look, in 2022, you have contributed to Somalia multi-window trust fund. For there, you can go to the Somalia multi-window trust fund, learn a little bit more. And that can also, when it's a new partner, it can be a good way to negotiate. So this is a way for you to you know, also to have donor intelligence and better understanding who is funded what, and that can be of your interest. And this was pretty quick. I see another question, and you know, but you can play with that. It's kind of, you can play by year. You can see, you know, like, you know, how the contributions of a given donor have looked. You know, like, yes, all that one. Another thing, another thing. So, for instance, if you want to see what are the trends, from here you can open directly. Let me see, and open it here. So from there, you can see the whole portfolio of Sweden. So you can see, as you can see, there has been an increase. Here you can see all the countries. If you are in Haiti, for instance, let's see what funds, you know, they are contributing. Sorry, I do it. So here I select Haiti, and you know, you will see in Haiti that Sweden indeed is contributing to all these 5 funds, most of in the country that are operating in Haiti. So this is also when, if you're going to have a meeting with the Swedish kind of mission there or ambassador, you can show this. But even if you are interested and you want to show examples, here can you even go to the projects that these funds in which Sweden is contributing. Remember, like, the funds in the MPTF office are pooled, right? So there is no kind of, you know, they are pooled and commingled with the resources from other donors. But allows you to, if you want to go there and you need to extract 3 or 4 talking points, look here, for example, what type of projects we are implementing thanks to the contribution of Sweden, because sometimes they might be aware of when they contribute directly, for instance, in the Haiti cholera response multi-partner trust fund, but a lot of the resources are coming also from global funds. So that's also can give you an opening on, you know, this is your whole portfolio on pool funds with the UN country team here through interagency pool funds. And if there are no more questions, I am a big fan of this. I work in partnerships, so we use it a lot and we recommend to use it. And if you are interested, we can have a more dedicated session on this. But if there are no more questions, perhaps we can stop here. We want to thank you really for your time and the good questions. And we will keep you updated, and please reach out for anything that suggestion you have of improving, you know, the gateway, or how we can provide better support in the important work that you are doing in the ground. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, day, depending on your time zone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.